Hello, everybody. It's great to be here today. First of all, one little correction. We have not sold anything to anybody. We've been part of Nasper's group for quite some time. So yes, OLX is the new name, as you, I hope, know, of Prodavnik, the most popular online classifieds platform in Bulgaria. Before I start, can I ask a quick question of all of you? Who here has a smartphone on them today? Please, don't be shy. Okay, good. This will be the picture in Kaspichan in about 2 years or so. You know, in the smallest even city in Bulgaria, this will be the picture. Of course, you are now the trendsetters and the early adopters of this technology, of this way of communication, but this will be the reality everywhere very soon. Already 27% of the traffic of OLX is mobile, and we haven't even started there yet. I want to ask you to please keep your cell phones your smartphones close to you, because I would like this to be a conversation, not just a presentation. Sort of like the difference between the internet and TV. We're going to do an experiment. I hope it works. It's a new software, but I'll ask you towards the middle of this presentation to vote online, to participate in a research, really, of 3 questions. Let's hope it works. Otherwise, we'll just switch to the offline method of raising hands. But before we do that, let me tell you a bit more about the company that I represent. OLX Bulgaria, actually, the OLX brand is present in 107 countries at the moment. It is the leader in classifieds in the region, in Bulgaria, and also in several other places, big emerging markets like India, like Brazil, countries like Thailand, Indonesia, with huge population, as you know. Countries like Argentina, and also in the region, in the Ukraine, in Hungary, in Romania, etc. It's also owned by a company called Naspers, that is also the owner, actually, of Fashion Days. So we are a sister company to Fashion Days and to IMAG in Bulgaria as well. So we have these several different lines that we invest in e-commerce. Actually, Naspers is 99 years old. It was created in 1915 and started with newspapers. In the past 15 years, Naspers, unlike some other companies that people talked about earlier, realized that they have to change, that newspapers are on the way out in some sense, or traditional media often are on the way out, and they started investing heavily in e-commerce, in different segments of e-commerce. In the past 5 years, one of the big focuses of Naspers has been classifieds around the world. And this brings us to what are online classifieds, really. I've heard a lot of different versions, and you might know this guy on the left. I don't want to say anything bad about e-shops. Thank you. I don't want to say anything bad about e-shops. I love e-shops. I shop on eMAG every month, and so on. But classifieds are a bit different, you know, and since in Bulgaria e-commerce is still sort of an emerging thing, I would like to say that there is a difference, in some good ways and some bad ways, of course. On an e-shop, it's great. If it's a good shop, you can get a variety of products. If it's Amazon, you get an Amazon of products. But still, you know, the e-shop has a warehouse, and that has a limit to it. I mean, there's so many things they can shove in that warehouse, and this is what you have to choose from, right? So you sit down in front of the computer, you choose products, and if it's a great experience, lovely, you get used to the brand and you keep on using it, and that's wonderful, and that's, you know, already disrupting sort of the market. It's disrupting the retail market, really, as we've discussed already. The difference, the major big difference between e-shops and classifieds is this wheel. Because on a classified site, maybe you start out by buying something, you know, quite inexpensively at a good price. And then maybe you realize that the new iPhone 6 is coming out, and then you realize also, oh, I have an iPhone 5. What the hell do I do with it? And the new iPhone costs, I don't know, more than most Bulgarians can afford. So then you decide that maybe you can make, I don't know, 400, 500 lev off of it. And then after you have bought something, then you go around and you start selling something. And once you cross that threshold, once you do a sale, then the engagement is what we see from our stats is super different. You know, you can brag about a good deal you got to somebody online, but when you sell something, it's quite a different picture. So what happens is, as I said, we don't own a warehouse. We have users who are generating this content constantly. They're buying and selling. They're creating demand, and they're creating content. So we are completely user-generated, content-driven. And a lot of times I've heard, you know, the success of OLX is based on TV advertising. Sure, I wouldn't argue against that. But it is this wheel and this word of mouth that got us started at the beginning, that really got the wheel going, and we invested more heavily in TV when this was actually in place and when the wheel was turning. So I've heard a lot of myths and legends about classified site over time, and I want to say, after I told you what I think the big difference is between classifieds and, let's call it, classical e-commerce, I want to tell you what classifieds are not. So they're not for poor people, you know, like, or emerging markets only. Naspers invests heavily in emerging markets because we think that there's a market that's going to grow in the future, and there's potential. While in Western Europe and in America, a lot of this space has already been taken in the consumer mind. But classifieds are not only doing extremely well in countries with low GDP per capita. By no means. I'll show you some stats, and this is from SimilarWeb. It's not the perfect source, but it's a very good source. And this shows you how popular websites are within countries. And so we can see two very poor countries. There's the States on the left, and there's France on the right. And you can see that in the States, Craigslist, that was mentioned a minute ago, is more popular, more visited than Amazon and eBay. And then in France, Le Bon Coin, the biggest classified site in the country, is at the #5 position, and there's not another e-commerce player in sight in the top 16. Let's look at some more examples. A lot of people say that classifieds, because maybe they come from this newspaper sort of heritage, where you call your local paper and you posted an ad there, they're for people who are not so tech savvy. You know, these days people, you know, shop on mobile and have mobile wallets and all that. So classifieds are still something like old school type platforms. Norway and Sweden, countries with some of the greatest online internet penetration in the world. Quite tech savvy people, I'd say. Finn.no and Blocket are the absolute #1s in terms of e-commerce in those very developed markets. Let's look at the question, are culturally and otherwise classifieds universal? I believe they are. We've been trading with each other since the beginning of time. I think the fact that people went to the next village to trade with others, this has developed us as human beings in some ways. So Netherlands and Turkey, very different markets, very different in terms of population, internet penetration, and so forth. But two of the greatest success stories in classifieds. We see Marktplaats and Saaibinden that are doing extremely well. And so far I've shown you some competitors. Now I'll show you some sites from our own portfolio. And here you have the United Arab Emirates on the left with our brand Dubizzle, and OLX in Portugal at the exact same position. Once again, you can barely see in the top 20 in any of those countries any online shop. Not even Amazon is not entered the country yet, and so forth, and so on and so forth. And are they big in our region? Yes, they are. We can see the statistics here for OLX in Hungary and in Bulgaria. We are at #8 and they're at #9. And once again, not a single online shop in the top most popular sites. One more myth I've heard often about classified site from advertisers, it's that, you know, we'd rather stick to news websites and sports websites and whatever websites, because, you know, that's what clients are used to, something like that. And that classifieds are not a good way to advertise online, is often what I hear. This is an example from Finn.no in Norway. This is the cars category. And this is the Hyundai Go Brazil campaign. I believe that if you are to invest, it's much more important that you go where people are interested in something, for instance, cars, rather than go somewhere that maybe men visit more than women. I think it's much more targeted and much more likely to help than to just go for demographics. Demographics are wonderful, it's some tool, but interest, what you're interested in, what you're looking for, is much more valuable, I believe, than demographics. So, now we get to this part where I'll ask you to participate in the research. So please get your phones out, and we'll start in a minute. Let's hope it works. If not, I apologize and we'll raise hands. So I would like to ask 3 simple questions. The first one is, have you ever bought anything online? Have you ever sold any personal belonging online? And if you have not sold any personal belonging online, why have you not sold anything? So, dear guys in the back, can we try to pull up the survey? Actually, before we do that, please go to aqpoll.com in your browser. So pull up Safari or Google Chrome or whatever you have on your phone. Is everybody getting on there? The first 300 will participate. There's a limit of 300 participants. So the first 300 will get in this online research. You should get to a screen where you enter an ID number, and that ID number is 103550. Are you getting there? Yes? No? Yes? Okay. Are you ready? Are you there yet? Who is not ready? Go. Is there a problem, or you're just not ready yet? It's slow. How many people are ready? Wow. Okay, let's wait another 30 seconds and then we'll get to the screen. For those of you who are ready, there should be a first question you can answer, right? Yeah? Is there a first question you can answer there? Yes, and did you answer already? Sorry? Okay, let's go to the online dashboard. Okay. Can we, is it running, guys? Can anybody answer the question? Yes, you answered it. Okay. So we should see more results here. Have you bought anything online? How many people managed to answer the question? Yeah? So everybody has bought something online, is that correct? Are you serious? Everybody here has bought something online. That's great. Can we move to the next question, please? For some, I'm sorry, but for some of you it might not work. Let's go to go. Okay, then we have you ever sold any personal item online? All right, can we get some more votes on the second question? No. No. Really? It's true. Let's wait another couple of seconds and see some more votes. All right. Let's move to the third and most important question. And here I would like to ask only the people who said no to the previous one. I would like just them to, yes, that's the one. I would like to just ask those people who have never sold anything online to participate and tell us, as these tech-savvy people with smartphones, why is it that you have not sold anything online yet? So you should be able to vote already for the third question and give us the reason why you have never sold anything online. So this one, the last one answer is I don't think it's safe. I don't have the time is a winner, I think. And the other one is I don't think, I don't have anything to sell online. And there's somebody who answered, I didn't know that I can sell stuff online. Who is that person? Our marketing manager is here. You can talk later. All right. Very interesting. Very interesting. I was expecting I don't have the time to be the leading answer, actually. You're busy people, you know? We're all busy people. All right, can we go back to the presentation and I'll show you some things about all those reasons that I think. Okay, that person who said, I didn't know I could sell online, there's OLX. Please meet, you know? I don't have anything to sell. That's an answer I often hear. Well, when the iPhone 6 comes out, please remember us, first of all. And I think everybody here, I mean, not a single person here has nothing to sell. Everybody has something to sell. Everybody is a potential seller. A colleague of mine sold a Bitcoin machine. I didn't know those things existed, but he sold it on OLX. I mean, you would not believe the crazy stuff people sell. And maybe you have an old bike, an old car, a cell phone you don't use, and it's just hanging in a drawer. I don't have the time. You guys must be really rich. If you don't think, you know, it's worth to spend 5 minutes posting an ad, and you can make, you know, $400 on an old iPhone. That's how long it takes, and through the app, it takes a few seconds, really, because you can point at the object, take a picture, put in a few words about the condition of the product, and off it goes. It really takes a minute to 2 minutes. And if you're one of those people who are not, you know, convinced and then don't want to make money off online, and they're not mercantile or whatever, I'll give you some social reasons to do that. You give new life to used items and help the environment. I feel very passionately about this. You know, there's not a better way to recycle than to reuse something. You recycle, you put in some energy into this, right? In order to recycle, you need electricity, you need water. But when you give it to somebody else who needs it, or sell it to somebody else who needs it, then it's being reused, and it's beautiful. You know, we're buying so much stuff, and that stuff has to go somewhere at the end. And then you make room in your home, of course. I know that at Better House, the coffee shop downstairs, all of it is furnished with communist furniture from people, they bought it on OLX, and those people got rid of it in a sense, but at Better House they love it. And you make other people happy in that way. You know, either they're making money or they're making even connections. A lot of people meet on OLX. We're quite a social network, by the way. And it takes 2 minutes to post. I don't think it's safe. I think it's very relevant in Bulgaria. Not too many people have you answer this way, but for a lot of people outside of this room who don't have that much experience with e-commerce, is a very predominant answer. I don't think it's safe. I think it's the safest way to shop online. You don't need a credit card. We don't have long forms that you have to fill out. We don't want any of your demographic information. You just sign up with your email and password. And then, but what happens? If you follow 3 simple rules, don't send money upfront to anybody, especially if they're asking you to send money upfront via Western Union. Meet in person if it's possible, if you're both in Sofia. Or our partner is a company, a delivery company that offers open before you pay option. It doesn't get safer than that. If you just follow those 3 rules, it's the safest way to shop online. You don't even prepay most of the time in Bulgaria. 2 last things, announcements, and that's all from me. I believe that the second group of individuals, other than private people in Bulgaria, who are making some more extra cash through OLX, and in this way supporting their family budget, the second group of people who deserve the greatest support are artists and craftsmen in Bulgaria. People who have talent, but they're not really being paid and don't have the option to sell their stuff. and they might leave the country because in other countries talent is appreciated a bit more. So this is the reason why OLX is starting a fund. It's not going to be very big at the beginning, but still we'll be able to support with money 20 artists and craftsmen in Bulgaria who can use this money to buy materials and do some business, and also we'll give them a platform, of course, on OLX to sell their stuff. So expect some announcements in this, and if you want to support it, there'll be information on the website how this will be done. And one last thing, there's a guy, a funny-looking guy outside in the conference in the room. Please go take a selfie with him. He's really funny. He's part of our advertising campaign. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
That's the guy.
Аз не съм навън. Тук съм. Това е за още по-големи бъдещи успехи на находчивия директор на OLX.
Wow.
Подарък за именния му ден.
Yeah.
Сигурен съм, че след като отговори за малко, след като го отвори за малко, няма да си спомня името си. Но пожелавам ти много успехи. Да ти с ръката. Все така напред и елате да се снимате.
И сега цветя от кмета на Страхотно.
Thank you very much.